Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dark and Light. Now, this is going to be a very special video. This video is going to mostly focus on getting more frames per second from the game. As anybody knows with any early access game, it's unoptimized. The netcode's normally for fucking shit. Everything's just a pain in the fucking ass, and you just want to fucking punch yourself repeatedly in the head, when you're trying to play it. And this leads to a lot of people prematurely putting up negative reviews, and thus it kind of really takes away from the shine of a game. And here's the problem with this concept, that developers still have yet to figure out that if you put out something that is so fucking unoptimized for the average consumer, you're generally going to have a hard time selling it. But, hey, common sense. That notwithstanding, here are a couple things that I figured out how to make my experience in Dark and Light a little bit more enjoyable. Now, as you can see here up in the right-hand corner, we are rocking a solid 51 frames per second. Now, this is also in the Epic setting at 1080. Guys, we do have a Ryzen 1700X with 16 gigs of DDR4 memory, bumped up to 2600, if I remember correctly, or 2666, yeah, something like that. We have an SSD, and we have a GTX 1070 powering the graphics. Okay, so just running around our base here, we got these shields that are having to be drawn, this, that, and the other. Now, you also notice there's no sky and no clouds. Yeah, I know, that's kind of shitty and so on, but trust me, those clouds actually eat up quite a bit of rendering. So here we go. Let's talk about some of the things that we've done. The first thing I did to get better performance, because before I did this I was getting jack shit for performance, was I actually messed around with the launch options, and here we go. I'm going to bring that up right now, and what I'm using here is use all available cores, SM4, D3, D10, and no VSync 0-N. So basically what this says is, game, hey, this computer has a shit ton of cores, use them all to help streamline things. Awesome. My 8 cores with SMT are appreciating it. At least I hope so. SM4, I have no idea what that is, so I'm not even going to try. D3, D10, that I do know, and that's DirectX 10 versus DirectX 11, which this game is programmed on. That's a little bit of kind of shame. And it's not a shame that I have to play it in 10, but it's a shame that it wasn't originally programmed in 12, which gives a lot more resources available to your graphics card. Like my 1070, if this game was a DirectX 12, it probably wouldn't have nearly as many graphical problems, and it would be a lot smoother in terms of utilization. But that's not how programmers are doing. They're still stuck on DirectX 11, and they don't want to make the jump over to 12. Apparently it's, like real work for them. Moving on. Outside of that, this right here gained me quite a bit. I messed around with the in-game settings of going from epic to high to medium to low, and I gotta tell you right now, I was getting about the same results on all of them. All right, still maintaining 30 to 40, because that was before I put this in. I was getting like 30 to 40, still having some issues of lag spiking, this, that, and the other. I still get the issues of lag spiking. You can't really get around that. That's just because of the way the servers are set up right now, and again, the netcode is all kinds of shit. But yeah, it is what it is. But I did notice a couple things here when we talk about options. First off, distance field ambient occlusion, screen space ambient occlusion, high quality materials required, and subsurface scattering. Removing these actually does help. Mesh detail is also really important. Sky quality, ground clutter also help. Render scale, yeah, this helps too, but it makes the game look like total shit. But probably the biggest one that I found made the most difference was playing it at 1280 720. So for those of you guys who don't have like a 1070, maybe you have a 960 or something of that nature, then yeah, pretty much right now, for early access, you're most likely going to be playing this in 720. So let's go ahead and see here. So yeah, kind of looks like shit, but you'll notice our average frames have been fluctuating a lot higher. We're now averaging in about 57, 56. We saw 59 there. There you go. So yeah, and movement wise, we're still maintaining, in the 50s. which is pretty damn solid. Now let's try some activities here, see if that changes up anything. See the performance on that. All right. Oh, mining, still maintaining that. Cool, cool, cool. Hey, Fire Magic 7. All right, well, let's see about flying, because flying is probably one of those things that really stresses a graphics card in this game. And wow, look at that. We're actually at 60 frames per second. 55, 52, 46. So yeah, long as we don't look down, we can hit 60. But just flying at a level flight here, we're maintaining, you know, high 40s, 50s. That's pretty decent. The game is playable at 30 quite easily. So anything above 30 is just, you know, kind of gravy. All in all, I'd say that those little tweaks right there are very helpful and probably going to make your life feel much better. Now that right there had nothing to do with any kind of graphical setting. That is pure netcode, so don't flip out. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Now down in the description, I'm going to actually give that string that I have on here. That way you could just copy it, put it into your launch options. If you're not running a 1070, if you're not running a 960, I would definitely recommend playing this at 720. Epic option, high, medium, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's all going to basically be the same. The only ones I'd probably really stress that you guys make sure that you're probably tuning down. Post-processing, anti-aliasing, general shadow, terrain shadows, those are going to be the ones that are going to cause probably the greatest amount of bottlenecking for any sort of graphical rendering. They do that in almost every other game, so this one really wouldn't be that different. So turning those down would probably help that out a bit. And if that still doesn't help, mess around a bit with the render scale, mess around a little bit with the mesh detail, sky quality, and ground clutter. Those, again, will probably lessen the strain and make the performance of the game a little bit more bearable and just probably give you a better opinion of the game, to be perfectly honest. Now this is only a temporary fix. Obviously, as they're coming out with more updates and more patches, it's going to get better. And sad but true, people on Intel are going to get a better performance issue than people on AMD like myself, because, well, unfortunately this game uses Unreal Engine 4, which is synonymously horrible with anything that says AMD on it. However, Ryzen does work pretty nicely with Unreal Engine 4. It is greater. It's much more greater optimized for Intel than it is for AMD. So that's just the kind of the lot we get put in, us AMD fanboys. Sucks to be us, but hey, we love red. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, simple things netted great performance boosts. Before, when I was playing this, it was like 21 to maybe 35 frames per second. Those couple tweaks there, 35 frames is about the lowest I go, and that's in some heavy combat sequences in the middle of forest, fighting like 3 or 4 things at once. All right, that's about where I get there. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this little guide. I hope it's made your life a little bit easier, and hope to see you fighting dragons soon. Till next time, Shiv saying, stay safe, have fun, may our Jesus bless you. I'm out.